Greetings, Jamaica. Today I am here to have a conversation about a post I found on Lisa Hanna's Facebook page. And I say Jamaicans, I invite everyone else, all my other viewers and subscribers, to listen to what I've got to say. But I think Jamaicans in Jamaica and around the world, this is a big concern to us. And this message was addressing the Jamaican people. Now, before I really get into some of the details of Lisa Hanna's post, I just want to let you know that this article was written and it starts out with her comparing Vybz Kartel to Don Corleone. And I think that is a very interesting analysis of the situation that currently exists between the government of Jamaica and Vybz Kartel. To compare Don Corleone with Vybz Kartel is a very interesting thing for us to look at and to examine. And I think Lisa Hanna is very courageous. Some years ago, I appealed to the then Prime Minister to act in courage, to be brave, to be courageous, and all these things meaning the same thing. And from what I'm seeing thus far, Lisa Hanna, although she's a politician, and although we understand that politicians sometimes say what they want to say so that they can gain what they want to gain, but it is very stupid of you to just hold tight to a position or to an argument without giving opportunity or leverage to hear what someone else has to say. And I think this is the first time I've ever heard a politician speak so much truth, knowing full well that all that she says, it's a great possibility that it could affect her political life. And that is why I'm very excited to do this today. Now let me take snippets of it because it's very long, but the parts that stood out to me I want to address here in this video. So she talks about how people in established positions of power owed Don Corleone many favors, and he used those favors to control them. And anyone reluctant to bend to his will would receive an offer that they couldn't refuse. So she's talking about the relationship with Don Corleone, the godfather, and the political structure within that whole mobster era, and how Don Corleone was just a regular immigrant who did what he needed to do to support his empire and to grow wealth. But he was dealing with so much corrupt people that the favors that he granted to them, or the things he did for them, eventually hated him in staying powerful, because now he had so much control over them that they couldn't refuse him whenever he needed something. She says, I think I'm living in a Godfather sequel. Jamaica has become a country of power brokers, leveraging connections of church leaders, police high commissioner, cabinet ministers, politicians, businessmen, and criminal dons. And not only to obtain illegal light, citizens quickly learn to latch onto people with status content to be more foot soldiers while their leaders are generals. So here it is that she has this critique to say that the politicians, the church leaders, the individuals within society that we look up to and we respect are oftentimes like criminals, and they use individuals in the society, those who are impoverished, individuals who lack education, to be their foot soldiers to do these corrupt things within the society. And as they're getting an opportunity to be close to some of these political figureheads or these religious persons, it gives them a sense of importance. But they don't realize that really you are a foot soldier and you will perpetually be owing tribute to those who use you. She says member of parliament become mothers, fathers, you know, boss lady, as she was referred to in one of Vybz Kartel's song. She says, in today's Jamaica, the power to control the mindset of people with low self-esteem and economic potential is the currency that has tipped the scales of justice unfairly by bludgeoning many of our people into acquiescence, vulgarity, and vengeance as a way of life. For many of our people, lucrative opportunities are unattainable unless somehow connection to the power brokers can be arranged. So she's saying, unless you're connected to those who are wealthy, those who have the means of control, you will not be able to get ahead. You will not be able to forge ahead in terms of the opportunities that you would need to make you successful. Only those who are connected to the money. So we're talking about not just politics here, but economic control of persons. Individuals are not able to gain the things that they need to succeed or to survive unless they're connected to all the right persons. That in itself is a foothold or the grassroots of corruption. Those who can't exercise that power or find a godfather who can often fall through society's crack. They are called unattached and treated as miscreants, misfits, deviants, or lumpen. They are statistics to be rounded up, segregated, preventatively detained, or socially crucified. Lisa Hanna, you're a brave woman, because what you're trying to do, or what you're saying very clearly, very articulately, is that the powers that be have used their power to control people in very negative ways, and those without capital, those without power in terms of economics or political or religious power within the structure or the environment of Jamaica. When you don't have that, you're then labeled as a misfit, you're a deviant, you're put together, you're lumping together and rounded up and abused and detained and socially crucified. And I think you're alluding to the fact that Vybz Kartel, even though you're saying that you've had your own critique of Vybz Kartel, but you're saying that, excuse me, if you're not connected to the right persons, certain things will happen to you and you shall be crucified, as is the case with Vybz Kartel. We don't know I can't, at least let me speak for myself, I don't know if he killed that man Lizard or not, but what I do know is that he was that sacrificial lamb. He is behind bars serving a 35-year prison sentence because individuals in Jamaica who hold positions of power, who could no longer control him and perhaps try to rein him in, and they were not able to do that, they have sacrificed him. They have crucified him. I started thinking, this is what she says, of the Vybz Kartel issue all over again. And she goes in to say that he has built this empire with his currency as a dancehall DJ. And what he has brought to the Jamaican fore is his talent filled with fear and violence and vulgarity, and how the Gaza loyalists threaten everybody who wishes to say anything negative about him. But what you fail to understand, Lisa, and maybe you do understand, is that the politicians and these corrupt persons within the Jamaican sphere are the ones who gave Vybz Kartel that power. Because for all those years when you have neglected, when you have abused, when you have lied and misled the Jamaican people, and then Vybz Kartel came out and started reading your number, start telling persons how corrupt you were, start, letting people know that you politicians are not doing anything for them. Instead of you becoming the individuals who were famous and were respected, the one who called your sin out, the one who understood you because he experienced that, he suffered at the hands of our own people in one way or the other. Maybe his situation is not as extreme, but he noticed people. He moved around individuals who were suffering. He knew their stories, and you know what? He cared and has protested to that structure and that system that exists in Jamaica, where there's so much prejudice. They might not be dealing with racism, but the prejudice based on their socio-economic condition cause people to gravitate towards Vybz Kartel. They gravitated towards him because he was reading their song, he was singing their song, he understood their life. And your neglect and your abuse of the Jamaican people, especially those who are poor or underprivileged, your abuse, and not you particularly, Lisa Hanna, but the Jamaican government, whether it be JLP or PNP, for generations of ignoring and neglected the plight of poor people, poor black people in Jamaica. This man saw the need to address it, and he did, and became a scapegoat. Because when people's eyes are being opened, it is very clear that for a long time the Jamaican politicians and religious members relied on the ignorance of black people. You love the fact that a lot of persons were undereducated. You enjoy the fact that many people, you know, were just surviving, and all they could think about is how they can feed their belly, as opposed to wanting more. For so many years, the politicians in Jamaica have built wealth and fortune for themselves and their families. Meanwhile, the people, you know, sort of sit in the throes of hell. And Vybz Kartel came along and pointed out your sins. That's why, if you're comparing him to Don Corleone, if he's a Don, it's because of your own neglect of them, and the Jamaican people particularly. And so you're saying here, they are unattached. Therefore, individuals who have lost faith in the system is sort of looking for somebody or something, as is the nature with black people, to be always looking for a new savior, someone to rescue them, somebody to deliver them from the throes of hell. Here you're saying that when you were Miss World and you were in South Africa and you talked about your aspiration to become a politician, and you know, you heard how corrupt they were and that they pile up money for themselves. People like me, she says, is considered thieves, bribe takers, rule makers, and breakers and abusers of power for self-interest. Jamaican politics is considered nasty, brutish, corrupt, and sinister. Yes, it is, Lisa. It is, and it hasn't changed. It only got worse over the time. 53% of our population are under 30 years old. They have demoted established positions of authority. Lisa Hanna goes on to say, the truth is, the politicians and the Godfather is seen as a part of the same culture of hypocrisy and self-promotion. Absolutely. I agree with you, Lisa. Because while politicians do certain things or invite individuals within the culture to break laws, even as they create new laws, while they use these persons who have no means, have no capital, have no future. Some of them feel hopeless at this point, and that hopelessness draws some very corrupt leaders to use them to do things like you said before, foot soldiers. And when they're finished using these individuals, these unfortunate persons within the society, who are so desperate that they're willing to do the dirty work of some of these politicians, when they're done and they're ready to discard them, oftentimes they set them up, send them to prison, or do all manner of evil against them or threaten them, as I'm sure is the case with Vybz Kartel. I'm sure that individuals tried to use him, tried to get him to do their bidding, and when he refused to do it, he became the fall guy. In the mind of 53%, I don't have the credibility to speak about issues relating to self-made godfather like Adidja Palmer. And for the rest, Mr. Palmer doesn't have any moral authority to criticize me. So Lisa is saying many of the individuals who stand strongly behind Vybz Kartel think she has no position, is in no position to criticize him regardless of what he's done, because their actions as politicians have been worst, if not equal to what he has done. She refers to Vybz Kartel as a self-made godfather, but I think he's worked very hard. Yes, self-made. But I think, as I said earlier, you have helped to do a great job in making him a godfather, because for all the times when you were picking on him, even when he changed what he was doing, even when for a long time he did no dirty or slack lyric, you always go back. It seemed as if you were, targeting this guy. He ventured into doing lucrative business. He tried to stay away from the bad man thing, and everywhere he turned, people were still breathing down his back, which forced him back to a position of saying to you, if every time I keep a dance, every time I have a concert, every time I go somewhere to perform to take care of my family, my dance gets shut down. Who was doing this? The government of Jamaica was doing that. And even if the guy wanted to go straight, you forced him into criminal activities, because if he was trying to be a legitimate businessman, and everywhere he turned, you put roadblocks, stumbling blocks, police officers, people who are supposed to be fair and to make sure that law-abiding citizens do the right thing. You blocked his every effort. What else were you trying to do to him? So to call him a self-made godfather, no, the government of Jamaica helped to do that. And then she goes on to talk about how, he's singing about the boss lady. But here's a part that I found very interesting. For my part, I'm perfectly willing to meet with Adidja Palmer wherever he may be residing at the time. If I did, I would make him an offer he can't refuse. So here Lisa Hanna is saying, Lisa, I hope you realize you're saying now that you are now the godfather, because earlier you said that, people used Don Corleone to do all kinds of stuff, and then after a while he became so powerful that then he was the one who was giving people offers that they couldn't refuse. You're doing the same thing now. You are the Don. This is not Vybz Kartel now, it's you. You are this political Don who is now extending your hand to Vybz Kartel because you recognize the power that he holds. And that makes you a very wise woman, a very intelligent person. You recognize the power of Vybz Kartel, and you're no longer willing to fool yourself. This could be political strategizing as well. Let's not get it twisted. But if you are going to strategically position yourself to extend olive branch to Vybz Kartel and work together to make the Jamaican people better, I have no problems with that at all. I think you're talented. Hey, Mr. Andrew Holness, as much as I support you and I admire you as a young black man trying to do the best you can in a political structure, I'm telling you that Lisa Hanna just served you notice. So if I were you, I would take note of what she's saying, and I would not just be one of those prime ministers who just gain fat and rich and get businesses around the world and become this tycoon. If you want to maintain your position of power and want to maintain that title of Prime Minister of Jamaica, you better take note, because this woman is serious. She's a serious person. And if you if you give her the opportunity to make that connection with Vybz Kartel, you know what? You're as good. It's over for you. And she will be the next Prime Minister of Jamaica. And she'll be doing things that you could do right now. Take note. I would say to Mr. Palmer, I believe Jamaica needs both of us to use our parallel influence for good, whether or not you are acquitted on appeal. I urge you to use your epic talent and absolute control over yourself, over your vast empire, to create and encourage progressive minds devoid of antisocial behavior and vengeance. Lisa Hanna, that's going to be very difficult. For the last 50 years, we have not only neglected our emotional well-being of our people and our physical need of our people and our religious need of our people, because what we've done is invite conversation with other persons from around the world that doesn't care anything about our people, and we have, the government of Jamaica have done nothing but appeal, or at least try to appease those who are from the east and the west and everywhere else. You have upheld the needs, the values, the morals of other persons, and you've neglected your African roots, you have neglected your African spirituality. And so for you to now be appealing to our people, our young people, about antisocial behavior and vengeance, understand that these things can only take place because of the things that we've neglected to do in our country. We have neglected to address our African heritage, or ancestral past, and people don't know themselves. The young people you're talking about vengeance to, you have not taught them self-love. So therefore, when they have shown antisocial behavior, it's because they don't know themselves, because you have not taught them that. Whatever they've learned in school, we have learned to see the white man as God in Jesus. They have learned to see Europeans and North American and other persons, Chinese or Asian people, as powerful person, as educated person. You have not done enough to promote the imagery of African people that are powerful, that are strong, that are inventors, that are wonderful change makers in the world. You have not done that. So to come now and to suddenly say you're going to ask Vybz Kartel to help you fix antisocial behavior is far-fetched. It's far-fetched. Please ensure your effort from today forward are geared towards building self-esteem, which leads to bridges of unity and national purpose. You're asking Vybz Kartel single-handedly to build self-esteem in our people, when the education system, the home is a first school, granted, and parents have to take responsibility for their children to teach them this. But within the home, the people don't know themselves. Within the home, African people don't know who they are. They can have self-esteem without having self-love. And within the church or the religious sphere, individuals are told that they're cursed and that they're evil and that they're going to hell, and that until they died and go to heaven, they can't experience true life. So the area of religion already told them that they're demons and that nothing good can come of them until they die. So here you're going to have a difficult time trying to build self-esteem in people who all their life have been told that they're no good, they're ugly, they're backward, they're dunce, all the negative thing that is associated with a black person within the Jamaican space. In return, this is your promise, Lisa. My commitment to you will be to reach across the social cracks through which many of our people now disappear, and ensure that I honor my obligation to be an agent of change, so that none of our people will ever again feel the need to serve godfathers of any kind. Too late. Too late. Because what you would have to do now is dismantle the two political structure. Now, I think there are individuals within each party that really want to do good. Few. Very few. But for you to be able to achieve this thing where you dismantle, first of all, it's easier for them to get rid of you, Lisa Hanna, because you're the first politician in the history of Jamaica who've come out and said all these things. And while people are still skeptical, while I could still be skeptical and say, why are you doing this? You're looking for a position within the party that you're now a part of, one that will take you seriously. But you could also be strategically trying to rebuild yourself, rebuild your image with the people, because you realize that Vybz Kartel is more powerful than you. You're now realizing now that this man had more people following him than those who are following you. You recognize the power that this man now holds, and if you're going to be honest with yourself, you're really trying to see if you can capitalize on some of this power. But I can't blame you, like I said before, if you're going to work together to make sure Jamaica become a better place by pulling on the energy and the strength and the power of this man who's behind bars. Why not? That is a true political move. The urgent purpose of my generation must be to repair the social decay and divide caused by decades of neglect by some people in my position. By a lot of people in your position, Lisa Hanna, a lot of core politicians, a lot of old ones who need to go. They're holding on to the mantle, and it's like they're gonna die in office. They're not trying to make Jamaica better. Otherwise, people like you, Lisa Hanna, and Raymond Price, and I forget that other guy's name, who they pushed out of the party. If you all really wanted, if the politicians there, those old guys who stand in the place of the old plantation, those individuals who are the great servant, master servants of their former colonizers, they're there holding on and doing the best job that they can to stifle the growth of African people. These individuals are not going to walk and step aside for you to come and do what is best for the Jamaican people when they're being rewarded for keeping people in poverty and keeping people ignorant. They're not going to step aside. So as much as you want to be an agent of change, the individuals within your own party are the ones who are going to try to push you out to get rid of you. It's not going to be that easy. It's going to take divine intervention for a prime minister with this kind of mindset to really stay in power. Not that the people in the country would not support this person, but the ones within their own party who says, I'm not here to lead and govern and rule and make opportunities better for persons. I'm here to usurp power, to hold on to it forever, even if I die. A lot of them, take a look at a lot of these politicians. They've been in there 25, 30, 40 years. They're not going anywhere. They're holding on to power. And they have wrecked and ruined Jamaica. Some of these individuals, they're afraid of the fresh blood. They're afraid of young people. They're afraid of innovation. They're afraid of these change that could come forth. They have held on to death. They're determined to kill and destroy their own people. So with you wanting to be this agent of change, there's a truth to what you're saying in so many things that you've discussed here. But I'm afraid that is not the people you have to worry about. It's not Vybz Kartel you have to worry about. It's the very political persons who you're exposing. Because you're exposing some people, Lisa Hanna. Some people have rubbed you the wrong way and you're exposing them. And I have to give you credit, woman, black woman. I have to give you credit for standing up, knowing very well that things can go crazy real fast from posting something like this. It's time to press the reset button. Yes, overall, the Jamaican psyche and rebuild the nation until where actions to benefit all Jamaicans' human capital rather than high-profile position is the fuel that defines real power. Absolutely, it is time to reset that button. But it's been pushed down for so long and held there by power brokers who benefited from keeping the average Jamaican person poor and ignorant. Their fingers are fastened to that button, and it's going to take the Almighty to release it. You're saying, yes, there are things in Jamaican politics that disturb me. The patronage, the petty tribalism, the narcissism, the greed, the Godfather mentality. I'd change them if I could. And I'll continue to work towards a system of Jamaican politics that either eliminates these evils or punishes them swiftly. Excuse me. Who's going to punish these things swiftly when all you need is money to buy out the judge, to buy out the court system, to buy out the politicians, to buy out the police officers? Based on what you're saying, these are not my allegations. These are yours, Lisa. So just because you want it, because your intention is for Jamaica to be a better place, doesn't mean that it's automatically going to happen. I'm going to end here. As a leader, I want to use my position to negotiate the best opportunities for our nation's people. I am prepared to sit with, listen to, and understand the differences between us and the gaps in opportunity that are holding us back. So she ends with saying, Mr. Palmer, if we all commit to that ideal and get it right, it is possible that your son could become Prime Minister of Jamaica one day and mine an international dancehall artist. Now, Lisa, that's a big switch. Because the other day, not too long ago, you wanted to ban dancehall, and now you're saying it's a possibility. Are you actually entertaining the thought that your son could become a dancehall artist? Come on, Lisa. Now, that's very genius. You don't want your son to be a dancehall artist. You do not. And you certainly do not want Vybz Kartel to become Prime Minister. You want to be Prime Minister, Lisa Hanna. So I'm not saying that you're being a whole full out hypocrite here, but I want you to at least be honest with yourself and say that it is your interest, it is your hope to become Prime Minister of Jamaica one day. And based on what you've written here, it's a big possibility. It's a huge possibility if those within your party don't get rid of you before that happens. But you put a lot of people on notice. You put the Prime Minister now on notice. You are not a fool, and no one should take you for a fool. You're a person you're a very brilliant mind. And to compare Don Corleone to Vybz Kartel, I can see where you're going with that. But I don't think Vybz Kartel is the mobster. I think it's a political structure in Jamaica. Those who are have contributed to killing black people through either financial means or economic means or psychological means. The damage that has been done on the psyche of the African people, the Jamaican people in the Jamaican diaspora around the world. The images we have in our mind that we are not good, that we are sinners, and that we're evil, that came from the lessons that were taught to us when we were children in our homes and in our schools. And not too long ago, when I came to Jamaica and I had a bunch of kids and I asked them, what is beautiful? They told me that beautiful was long flowing hair, was white skin and blue eyes, and their idea of blackness. And this is a theme that is prevalent with all black community. But it broke my heart to see 5 children told me that beauty was white. Their idea of smart and brilliance was associated to white people. You have failed. But it's not too late. It isn't too late. Lisa Hanna, I think you're a genius to write this and to post it. I think you're brave, the bravest person I have ever seen in Jamaican politics. And I can only wish you well. I hope Vybz Kartel gets his appeal, and I hope that he's freed for no other reason except that, if he had done something wrong, he could have gone to prison for that crime that he committed. But for the Jamaican government and for all these corrupt systems that exist, that did things, that went behind the scenes and created a situation for this guy to go to prison for 35 years, that was far too cruel. No one has ever had that kind of sentence. No one has ever gotten that kind of a push within the judicial system to get justice. And now you are telling the people, based on my assessment, that our governments have done some very terrible things, and they have done it with the only intention of making themselves wealthy, making their families rich, creating great positions for friends. As you say, the nepotism that exists within the Jamaican space and the government is not good. I wish you all the best. I hope people can see what you were trying to share, that a lot of what you say is truthful. Of course, as a politician, you're going to be a politician, and so you're going to weave a web for people to understand your position, and also to teach us or show us or expose some very corrupt people that you don't support. Big up yourself, Lisa. Be blessed. All the best to you and your fellow politicians. I hope that you have opened their eyes. I hope they realize that, you are a whistleblower, and that you'll expose them. And it's about time we have somebody in politics who is willing to do this. For the first time, the opposition party, by way of your announcements, Lisa Hanna, is holding our prime minister, our governments accountable, exposing them. And like a great journalist, you're there to question their actions and expose the things that they're doing that is breaking us as a people. Be blessed, African people. Think on these things.